Okay.
Right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Today, it is beautiful yet rainy day. We're going to have a book review session with our moderator, Belinda, and with our honorable presenter, Marsha, with his book um, Through the Looking Glass. And without further ado, I would like to present the stage to our fine moderator here, Adina. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adina Jamila, and I was moderating today's book review. And our presenter today is Marsha Aurelly Aryani, who will deliver the through the looking glass. Okay. Without any further ado, I invite our presenter to begin the presentation. So the time is yours.
Thank you, Anita and Carrol. So, good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, let me introduce myself once again. So, my name is Marsha Aurelly Aryani, and now I would like to present a book review of a fiction novel titled Through the Looking Glass, written by Carrol. So, in this presentation, I will talk about the reason why I chose this book, and then the short summary, the theme and the moral value of this book, and then the strength and weakness of the novel, and last is my personal opinion and recommendation. So let me start the presentation. So to begin with, so this novel is belong to fantasy genre. So I choose this novel because I have already known the movie. Maybe you guys, all of you guys, also know the movie. And then I really enjoy the film. So because I like the movie, I became curious about the original story behind of it, and I want to know further about the original story and whether the novel is have deeper meaning compared to the movie version. And then after I read the book, I realized that the story is not only entertaining but also meaningful. So the novel is present many ideas about logic, imagination, and identity that are not fully shown in the movie. So reading the book it's helped me to understand the story more detail and from a different perspective. That's why I choose Through the Looking Glass as the book for this review. Moreover, this novel is still relevant for students today because it teaches us how to think critically, question rules, and not accept everything without thinking, like we all gonna do. And for this reasons, I believe that this novel is suitable to be discussed in academic content. So now I will move into summary. So the story begins with a young girl named Alice looks into a mirror in her house, and then she suddenly enters the room, the strange world called the Looking Glass world. And then at the beginning, Alice feels confused because everything in that world is different from our real world. And then time, language, and logic is do not work normally like in our world. And then Alice learns that that world is like a giant chessboard, and she becomes a pawn in a game. And her goal is to move forward and finally become a queen. As the story continues, Alice meets many strange characters, for example, like Tweedledum and Tweedledee. So they who talk in confusing and illogically weights. And next character is the Rat Queen, so who presents strict rules and authority, and Humpty Dumpty, who believes that words can mean anything you want. And during her journey, Alice often feels confused because the rules of the world keep changing. What is right is one moment become wrong in the next moment. So and next is the conflict becomes stronger when Alice realized that logic doesn't not always help her anymore, and she must accept the strange rules if she wants to move forward. And the climax happened when Alice finally reached the last square and become a queen. And however, instead of feeling happy, everything becomes chaotic and confusing Alice. And in the end, Alice wakes up and realizes that the world and adventures might have been only a dream. And these endings makes readers question whether the story was real or is just only a part of Alice's imagination. So next, I want to tell you the theme and the message of the novel. So the main theme is through the looking glass is identity and logic. So the story show how people try to understand who they are in the world that does not always make sure. And other important then is the confusion between rules and meaning. So the novel shows us that people often follow rules without know the reason behind of them. And one important message from this story is that not everything in life is logic. And sometimes we need to think critically instead of blindly accepting what we are told. And the novel also teach us about to question authority, to think independently, and to stay curious when facing confusion. Unlike many stories, this novel does not clearly tell the readers what is right or wrong. Instead, it invites the reader to think, interpret the meaning by themselves. So next, I would like to explain the strength and the weakness of the novel. So the strength is the novel is creative and the story is very imaginative and different from the ordinary novels. And other strength is that the novel encourages critical thinking and readers are not only entertained but also challenged to think deeply. So the writing style is also unique and memorable, especially in how the author plays in language and logic. However, the novel also has some weakness. So one weakness is that the story can be confusing, especially for readers who are not used to fantasy or symbolic stories. And another weakness is that the novel does not focus on emotional development, but some readers may feel less connected to the characters. So because of this, the novel may not be enjoyable for everyone. So to conclude my presentation, I would like to share my personal opinion. So personally, I enjoyed reading this novel because it made me think a different way about rules, about everything, and that it was not easy a story, but it was interesting and meaningful. And I like how the story challenged logic and showed that not everything has simple explanation. And therefore, I would like to recommend this novel to students who are interested in literature and philosophy or critical thinking. So I think that's all. Thank you very much for your attention, and that's end of my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Marsha, for the clear and structured presentations. I find it very interesting to read the book.
Okay, after this.
Q&A session, and if there's questions, you may raise your hands.
Okay, my name is Devina Alvera, and I'd like to ask you, who is the main character and what is her role?
Okay, so as I said, the main character is Ali. She is a curious young lady who tries to understand the rules in the world around her, and through her experience, readers can see how confusing rules and logic can be. I think that's
Okay, any questions?
What is the main theme of the novel?
Okay, so the main theme of this novel is identity and logic. As I said before, so the story shows how people try to understand and who they are in that world, and that's not always makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Maybe?
Okay, my name is Asati Buniati. I want to ask, what did you personally learn from that book?
My personal learn from this novel is, I think, is not everything have a clear meaning, and I think that's okay. And the novel taught me that I have to think more deeply and critical thinking, and be more open-minded and not accepting that we have know what it is, and I have to question everything that I have confused. Okay, I think that's all.
Okay, I think that's enough for the Q&A and sorry. I think that's enough for the Q&A sessions. So before we close the session, I would like to return the session to our MC.
Okay, let's turn very compelling stories. The stories itself, from what I heard, is almost seems Kafkaesque. If you familiar with the author Franz Kafka, but that's our stories with in itself. But I believe that's a pretty interesting stories, and overall, I believe that's a worth the read. And without further ado, I believe that's all what we got in this session. Thank you everyone, and have a nice day.